Time to visit my happy place. Reversals. Oh my gosh, do you read them? Don't you read them? Have you been intimidated by them? Is it something that you just don't know if you want to do? I read reversals in a lot of different ways, and I've been asked to do these videos, so I am going to do a string of videos. In this video, I'm going to share the 3 easiest ways to read reversals, and I figured out, I thought I had 7, but I think it's more like 11 or 12 different ways that I read reversals. So if you're interested in exploring reversals, even if you're brand new to tarot and feeling like, oh my God, I'm having enough trouble just reading the cards, I guarantee that you can use these methods and read tarot successfully. So stick around if you're interested in that. And I want you to know that if you're an oracle card reader or if you have mixed spreads, every single one of these methods will work when you're using oracle cards as well. Before we begin, I just want to invite you to my Mystical March Journaling Challenge. You can sign up for free by clicking the link in the description box down below. It's totally free, and I'm not trying to sell you anything, I promise. Just great prompts all month long, whether you're beginner or advanced, there'll be something there for you. If you want to go deep, you want to go light with tarot or oracle cards or both, this is a great chance to just jump into that with a group of people and have that fiery momentum. I'll be giving tips, there'll be some videos, and there'll be some cool free printouts with embellishments and stuff, so you can just really have fun with it. I hope to see you there. So the first thing I want to say about reversals is that it's really important that you choose how you're going to read your reversals before you ever draw any cards. And the reason is, if you don't choose what method you're going to use, whether you're going to read them or not, then you're going to start second guessing yourself. You're going to say, did I direct the reading in one way or the other? And you don't want to have that feeling. You just want to know that your reading is spot on for you and that you can just dive in and trust it. So make sure that you check in with yourself and say, hey, how am I going to read reversals before I start? And if you forget to do it, then you may want to have a default mode. And that brings me to method number 1, the method that I use as my default mode of reversal reading when I forget to actually check in, and that is the significance method. We're always looking for greater significance in our life. As a matter of fact, if you're a tarot or an oracle card reader, then you know that's one of the reasons that you read, is because you feel that life is significant and that you want to tap into the significance of your now. So by seeing this card as a big neon sign saying, hey, this card or these cards, if there are multiple cards in your reading, are really important, is something that richens your reading, but it also makes it really easy to read reversals. So a little trick here, when you flip your cards over and you first lay your cards out, you can then go back and turn your reversed cards right side up with a significance method so that you can look at them and maybe you're not thrown off by an upside down card, which can be like disconcerting to look at or to read, especially if you're new to tarot. And what I do is I simply mark these cards with a small stone next to them, and it just, or on them, and lets me know that, hey, this card is in reverse as I look back over the reading. Another very easy way to read reversals is just to see this card as the universe pointing you to inside of yourself. That this is something going on internally, therefore the internal method. And to really let yourself go a little deeper instead of thinking that it's something outside of yourself. And what I really like about this method is that it again reminds me that the universe is inside me and that the alchemy that I'm experiencing is from within, but I'm seeing it outside of myself, but it's actually an internal process. And so it draws your attention back in and allows you to really take responsibility for the choices that you're making and the ways in which you're directing your energy. And that card is just a real reminder of how powerful you are, just how important it is to be checking in with what's going on inside of you on a regular basis. Another tip for reading reversals and just keeping it really simple is to make sure that you look at the position that the card is in. So in this reading, it's a past, present, future reading, and it's coming up in the present here. So it's really something that I'm looking at right now that's going on within me. And if this were in the past position, then I would be thinking to myself, wow, this energy, because I see tarot cards as energies that I'm interpreting. They're visual representations of the energies that are playing out in my life. So, in the past, it would be something where I really would look at it and say, okay, this was an energy something that I was really working with internally, and I need to look at what was going on inside of me during that time. What were my thought processes? And again, was I blaming anyone, for the past especially? Was I blaming anyone at this point, or was I pointing the finger outside of myself? I really need to look at what was going on inside of me at that time. So again, that would be just about your internal workings, your beliefs, the subconscious mind, the deep mind, the magical mind, the place of deep knowing. And I absolutely love this method. How many of you have read with this method? And speaking of really cool 3-card spreads, at this point, I just want to interject that I have a free printout down below in the description box for different 3-card spreads than maybe you've ever done. You might want to check that out. It's PDF form, and there's some other free printables down there as well. Again, another simple method, but one that takes a bit of bravery. The shadow method tells you what aspect of shadow is coming to light, or what aspect of shadow you're ready to begin working with. If you're not familiar with shadow work, I just want to give you just a couple thoughts on shadow work here that I think are really important whenever we're working on our shadow. Our shadow is not our dark side or our evil side or anything like that. It's simply the power within that we have not discovered yet. There are places that we haven't walked into where there's hidden treasure. Often we don't walk into those places because we've had trauma, and we think that the trauma is all that's in there. Trauma or something negative that happened, or maybe you just have a negative idea of what shadow work is. But I do want to tell you, these 3 things I want you to think of whenever you're doing any kind of shadow work. And the first is to go slowly. There's no rush. You've got plenty of time to uncover this. Allowing yourself to move into a place of trust that, the cards are showing you this piece of your shadow right now, and you're ready to look at it. You're ready to receive it. Also, seeing it as a hidden place of power can take away some of the fear and trepidation when working with your shadow. Number 2, I really want to say, hey, be compassionate. And not just to yourself, but to everybody involved in the shadow aspect of this. And this is where it can get really tough. But again, this goes back to realizing that the people and experiences that we have are not outside of us, but within us, and therefore a part of us. And we cannot, as we do shadow, I think it's really important to recognize that we are moving away from the concept of the other and embracing a more powerful aspect of self that asks us to tap into the connectedness of issues or experiences, archetypes, again, that are not outside of us, but a part of us, and taking us to a place of removing separation consciousness. Because a lot of times we're pulling away from something because we've decided to separate ourselves from it, probably for good reason, so I don't want there to be any guilt or shame here at all. If you have some area that you've had trouble looking at, it's okay. We all self-protect for very good reasons. So again, just be compassionate with yourself as you go through this. And the third thing is just don't think that you have to do it all right now. And I think that's really important. A really good friend of mine once told me that when dealing with things that are really deep, sometimes what we do is we kind of we look over at it real quick and then we look away. And that's just enough to initiate a sequence, an energetic sequence with the universe that brings help and signs and symbols and the enlightenment or the light that we need to be able to look at that issue and stand in it powerfully. This could, like I said, this could just be a peek at something, a peek that allows you to start that process. And that process could be years. I don't think our shadow is something to be avoided, but I think it is something to be embraced and to be reverent of. So again, choose this method with a heart that is ready to trust the universe and trust that you are ready and equipped for this now. I just want to say, if you're doing a shadow reading, you've got everything that you need. The universe will provide what you need if you truly want to press into that aspect. Any kind of ascension or witchcraft is going to initiate shadow work. It's going to bring you to that place of opening yourself up. So again, you're working on reprogramming yourself to see yourself as empowered in this area, but also to discover how to wield that power. I hope you found this video interesting, maybe challenging. Let me know down below if you use any of these methods or if you feel inspired that you could read reversals. If you made it this far, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And I'm going to do a quick plug here, not for anything that's for me, but it's the Save the Soil project by Sadhguru. And basically, this is really about turning towards our environment to save the soil and to save the microactivity that we have in the soil in order to have a tomorrow on this planet. So I'm going to leave a link to that down below and you can go watch his video. But I encourage you to think about what you can do yourself or what you're being called to do to make a difference for this planet, whether that's moving away from plastics, planting a tree, being a part of an organization, or sending money, if that's something that you can do, to organizations that plant trees, save the rainforest, or whatever is in your heart to do. So it's a quick plug there. All month long, we're promoting this. We can do it. We can save this planet by being conscious about what we do and knowing that we are powerful beings. Thanks so much for considering that. If you made it this far, give me a thumbs up, and you may want to check out these videos right here or my other channel over here where I read tarot. You can learn a lot by watching other tarot readers. Just remember, if my interpretation is not your interpretation, that is just okay, so toss it. Until we meet again, merry meet and merry part.